The best way to use this week of your time, if you're taking the bar exam next week on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, is to take a look at information that maybe you wrote on cue cards that you didn't understand. But now's not a time really to go in to try to understand the rule against perpetuities or some of the more difficult areas. If you understood it, great. If not, you got to kiss it off a little bit because there's so much voluminous information that could be tested. And we know that negligence is 12 or 13 of the 25 questions on the multi-state bar exam. And they love to test negligence in the essay also. So time should be spent on negligence because it's highly tested. You don't want to know everything that you don't understand because you'll have no confidence going into the exam. There's too much voluminous information. You want to know when you get it down to two arguably correct answers, which one is better, because those are the instructions to the exam. Choose the best of the given alternatives, not choose the correct answer. And you have to practice some questions by process of elimination and know when you get it down to two, which is better, like a testing skill or strategy, I call it. An answer that eliminates an element is better than a defense. Even though you were taught defenses in law school and bar review, it might not be the best of the given alternatives. Because if you have another answer that eliminates an element to the cause of action, then you don't have anything to raise defenses for, and it would be the better answer. Certainly you don't circle two grid spaces hoping for double credit, because that doesn't occur. And I've heard from students, they're asking me, is any answer choice better than any other answer choice? Come on now. This level of sophistication of the bar exam is just a tad higher than that. There's no letter more correct than another letter. You just pick whatever you think is the best answer, and you don't pick a C because you haven't picked C in a while. That's not logical. You don't want to skip anything. You want to practice questions where you're not skipping anything. You don't want to skip anything on the bar exam because you could end up catching that mistake when you put 100 into grid space 99, and you won't be given extra credit to correct the grid form. You want to stay positive. You want to know that you can get 60% of the information on the multi-state wrong, or that be equivalent to 120 correct out of 200, or 60% of the 200 multi-state questions correct, and you would get a 120 raw score. Then there's a national scale on the exam, and it varies from test to test. So I'm just playing with an arguably average scaled score of 13 points. So if you get 120 correct, 13 as your national scale, you end up with a 133 scaled score on the MBE. And it's a scaled score, not the raw score they use in combination with your MEE and MPTs to see if you come up with the requisite points to pass. But the multi-state in a state like New York is 50% of the grade. So why you would be concentrating on essays down the stretch is beyond me when that's only 30%. And the MPT, there's two of them, they're worth 10% each. So what are you going to do? Spend time on something that's worth 10% versus a multi-state that's worth 50%? You can't spread yourself out too thin trying to get an A on all these subjects and voluminous material that's tested. They're going to test fine line, hornbook, and restatement distinctions, and you have to be studying on that wavelength now in the week prior to the bar exam. You certainly want to get enough sleep. You want to train yourself to sleep 7 or 8 hours a night. You don't want to be studying till 2 o'clock in the morning every night because you feel you haven't caught up to where you want to be. Because if you don't get used to getting sleep for 6 or 7 days, come the day of the bar, before the bar exam next Monday night, you will be sitting there staring at the ceiling and you will get no sleep. And how are you going to think on a 100-page multiple choice exam called the multi-state, where you have 1.8 minutes to read and answer a question? So you need sleep, you need rest, you need to exercise a little bit every day. And I don't mean carrying your cue cards onto the exercise bike either. I mean getting yourself a mental break and be positive that you're a smart person. You've come this far. You could pass this exam, but you got to use strategy down the stretch. You just can't be still reading outlines, reading the phone directly of outlines, and thinking you're just preparing for the bar that way, because it's three-dimensional. You need to know the law. You need to know application of the rules of law. And you need to know when you get it down to two, which is better, and that has to be practiced. And if you need help with that, I'm an expert at this. I've taken the multi-state bar exam. I've taken the bar exam, including the multi-state, 14 times. And basically that's what happened to my hair. And I want you to keep your hair and pass it now. So I'm here to help anybody that needs it. You could reach me by email or phone number. I'm available whenever you are, and I'm here for you.